Well, it's me, Marty Lennartz, once again live backstage at Lollapalooza here at the XRT Radio compound. And right now I'm joined by a Grammy-winning producer, DJ, and performing artist as well, Mark Ronson. Mark, welcome.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. You've been in Chicago now for, a few days, right?
Yeah, we've been here since Thursday because we played the House of Blues Thursday night, and it's amazing. Like, I've just seen every band I could ever kind of hope to see in the span of 3 days.
Have you been spinning records also these days? Have you been doing DJ sets?
I haven't been spinning. Oh, I played a little set last night actually at the Hard Rock, but I'm a little bit rusty now because I used to DJ 5 nights a week, and now I play like once in a blue moon, and I suck. But it's all right.
Well, being a DJ, that's how you started back in, like 1993 or so?
Pretty much, yeah. I used to play in bands in high school, but my first sort of professional, like when people became aware my name was DJ in hip-hop clubs in New York. And then from there I started producing records a bit more, and then the past year being on tour.
God bless you.
The past year being on tour promoting my own album Version, so I've kind of become like an accidental guitarist.
Right. How did the transition go from being a DJ? Now you started DJing in clubs, and then you were doing big parties. And how did you go from DJing to producing records? How did that happen?
I guess I was really into hip-hop in the early 90s, and I was DJing hip-hop clubs, and that got me into sort of producing in the hip-hop standpoint, like having a drum machine, making beats. And I went to... Puffy and Biggie and Jay-Z and Mos Def and Q-Tip and all these hip-hop heroes of mine were coming to the clubs where I was DJing, and I kind of like making those contacts. And I think first record I produced with this artist named Nika Costa on Virgin. I did her first record, and I guess there's a lot of it seems to be a good transition point, DJ to producer. I mean, you look at people like Dr. Dre and Chad from the Neptunes. Timbaland used to be a DJ. So I think in that world of hip-hop, it can be a logical progression if you have the talent.
Right. Well, now, when you were DJing, your sets were known for being fairly eclectic. You blended a lot of different music together.
Yeah. Well, I grew up loving everything from Public Enemy to Guns N' Roses to Duran Duran and Run DMC, and this was before the sort of mashup thing and that craze, and I would play like great rock records that you could dance to, whether they were the Stones or AC/DC or whatever it was. So yeah, and it was people weren't used to hearing that in hip hop clubs, and to see Method Man standing on a banquette like chanting "I love rock and roll" at the top of his lungs was somewhat of a novelty back then. And now you can't go into a hip hop club without hearing the obligatory like rock and roll set with
right.
Under the Bridge. It makes me want to stab myself in the eye. But back then it was kind of new and interesting.
Well, you brought that same eclecticism to the record Version by putting current artists together doing songs that were British rock hits from the 80s and from the 2000s as well, all the way through the last 3 decades, I guess, but giving them, in some cases, big soul arrangements, big, like old school soul arrangements. Yeah. That was a pretty cool thing to do, and you did it sort of with Daniel Merriweather, I guess, starting was one of the first songs that we heard. It was the cover of the Smiths song.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Daniel Merriweather.
Daniel Merriweather is a brilliant singer from Australia, and I heard a demo of his about 3-4 years ago, and we started working together, collaborating, and then finally he moved to New York. It's pretty hard to like try and make demos when you're like 20,000 miles away. So that's what happened, and he didn't know that Smith song, and I played it for him. I said, I think you could deliver a really lovely haunting vocal on this, and he said, yeah. So that's kind of how that came together. I think the reason that I've always been so fascinated by cover versions, especially in the 60s and 70s, like soul groups doing kind of like quote-unquote white songs, like Stevie Wonder doing We Can Work It Out by the Beatles. And
right.
Just all those great instrumental sort of records with like all this, I don't know, just like great funk covers with great arrangements of traditionally sort of pop melodies, and that's kind of what I set out to do with Version. I didn't really know I was making a whole album. I didn't have a concept like I want to do a whole album of this. It just kind of came together.
Right. Now a group that you've been working with...
Supertramp playing tonight? What's going on right here? Sorry.
That's right, Supertramp is here, yes, for a second. They sampled someone else just a few minutes ago too that was out there.
Yeah. It's Chromia,
yeah.
But now I think this is the band on this stage, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know.
Supertramp is really hot these days.
Supertramp, well,
especially
in a lot of
with
commercials.
Gym Class Heroes, right. Now, a group that you've been working with both on Versions and with Amy Winehouse, the Dap-Kings.
Yeah.
How did you start working with them? They're an amazing band.
They're so incredible. I went to see their show last night. I went to I'm sorry, this song is so distracting. Anyway, yeah, Dap-Kings, I had a few of their 45s about 3 or 4 years ago. And on my first album, Here Comes the Fuzz, I sampled one of their records on this track that Jack White played guitar on. And then I just started like kind of meeting them, just using the horn section. Then when it came time to do Amy's record, we had the demos that me and her had done. I said, this sounds so much better if we get these guys to play it. And I played her one of their records. She goes, sounds awesome, let's get those guys. And that's what happened. We just cut that whole record about 3 days or something.
Yeah, they're guys from New York, basically is where they work out of, and they're real soul record, I guess you could say soul record geeks. They're sort of like archivists. They go back and they listen to all the old 45s and such, and really bring it back in a new way because they're playing with modern artists. I thought that you blending them together with Amy and with Lily Allen, that was really brilliant.
Well, I just thought that I'm just such a fan of that era of music, and I think the problem with soul music today is that you don't have 5 people that can really play their instruments, playing in a room, playing like really great arrangements, recorded well as well. You know, like the whole thing with that sound of those drums, the Dap-Kings, it's so authentic. It's one mic on the drums. You know, now you get in the studios 15 mics everywhere. So they just play the real deal stuff, and that's why I love them. So yeah, putting with Amy was kind of a no-brainer once we had the demos. Now it looks like some stroke of genius or something, but it just was. It was what it was. Amy had these great songs that lended themselves to their playing. You know.
Right. Now you're performing live here today at Lollapalooza. What do you do in a live set?
Well, we have a lot of the singers from the album version. So Daniel Merriweather's here. I'm so excited. Alex Greenwald, who's been on tour with Band and Planet for a while, he's back for today. Rhymefest, amazing rapper from Chicago. Plastic Little, Tiggers, Kenna, Candy Payne. We got a lot of people here tonight.
Wow, so there's a lot of people who perform with you. That's a lot of fun.
Palooza.
It's like a big review. You have your own Lollapalooza, right?
Yeah, we have our own Lollapalooza. Do you know what Lollapalooza means? Someone told me. In the dictionary, it means a person of striking power or something. So Lollapalooza is actually like one that you would say, that guy's a Lollapalooza. Like if Slash walked by, you go, that guy's a Lollapalooza or something.
Well, you're definitely the Lollapalooza when you go on stage today.
Definitely strange.
Well, thanks a lot for stopping by. I know you've got the show coming up, and you know, it's so nice to have you in Chicago for all these days.
Yeah,
and
man, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I hope to see you come back soon and have a really good show.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Mark Ronson, live backstage here at Lollapalooza. We have more on the way, and we'll be back in just a bit. I'm Marty Lennartz, backstage at Lollapalooza from the XRT compound on 93 XRT.